AM 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. How are you doing? If you need a little bit of boost in your education, this is a good time to pay attention because Crystal Flynn is in the studio. She's the recruitment coordinator for Webster University. We got so many opportunities in our community to get a little bit more education, and you are here to talk. We brought two guests. You have a third guest coming in right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's Lois coming in from the College of Central Florida, so she'll join us in just a second, but I'll let our other guests introduce themselves.
How are you? You doing good?
I'm good.
You went to Ireland.
I did. I was just saying this. Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
I did. I was trying to follow in Mike's footsteps, one of our former
How's he
partners
doing?
here. He's great. He's great. But
Yeah, he travels everywhere.
He does. So I'm trying to live by his example and get moving.
So there is a camera there somewhere, right?
There is. I've read about that. But, since I came back, I added a bunch of different feeds to my Instagram that are all Ireland tourism and seeing a lot of different photos and the places I missed, even though I think we did a really great job of all the things we saw.
Tell me one thing you'll never forget. One thing that'll be with you the rest of your life.
The Cliffs of Moher.
The Cliffs of Moher.
The Cliffs of Moher, yeah. It's
What is that?
Moher. So it's on the west coast.
Moher.
It's about the middle of the country, and it's the coast, and it's cliffs. There's been some famous things filmed there. Star Wars and some other things have had some really cool scenes there.
Oh, really?
It's just breathtaking. It's beautiful, and
oh my gosh, you must have had a good time.
we did. My husband and I had a wonderful time.
Wow.
I tell everybody, if you can go.
You got pictures on your Facebook page?
I do.
You do?
I've not loaded a lot of them yet. I'm going to work on uploading the rest of them.
Because I live vicariously through other people.
You'll have to find them.
That's my job.
Yes.
I'm stuck in this seat.
And I put some on my Instagram. But yeah, lots of fun. I'll show you some after we finish.
All right, so you brought with you Victoria Colelli. Am I saying it right?
That is correct.
And you are the Director of Disability Services and Counseling. Where?
At the College of Central Florida.
Oh, across the street. That's
Right
how you
across
knew
the
about the
street.
ducks.
Yes.
Yeah. The baby ducks are.
You got it.
Actually, they look like teenage ducks now, don't they?
They're growing quickly.
So
Were
did
they
you
not following directions and just wandering across the road?
Exactly.
That would tell the difference.
Exactly. Yeah, they were their own ducks. They weren't going to be anybody else's duck. And Corey Weigel, am I saying your name right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
You're the Career Pathways Coordinator also for CF?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
And
So-
that's important because that's what we're talking about.
That's why you go to school.
Yes,
Is for a
yes,
career
yes.
pathway, right?
Yes.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah, I do.
And it'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we are missing a partner today. The University of Central Florida usually joins us, but unfortunately they were not able to, so they will be joining us next time.
Ah, okay. Are they in Ireland?
No.
I'll be going there next week, actually.
Oh,
You're
really?
going to Ireland?
Very
I am.
cool. Where are you going?
Cork, Ireland.
Okay.
Where?
Cork, Ireland.
We went through there. So it's county. So
I don't know why I asked, because I don't know any
So
place
like
in
the
Ireland.
states, so the states in the U.S. Over there it's counties, but it's essentially the same setup. So
okay.
Cork would be considered like a state. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we were there. And it's lovely.
I know you're going for an occasion?
I am. My daughter got her AA degree, and I got my doctorate last year. So it's
You
like
have a daughter old enough to have an AA degree?
Yes. Thank you.
Am I just getting old? What is it? How does everybody look so young to me?
We'll have to come here more often.
So let's see, career pathways and
Yes.
disability services is what you do, Victoria, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell me what that means. What does that mean?
Okay, so students come in and sometimes they have strengths and limitations to being able to be successful in the classroom. So if they have it could be an array of things. It could be a cognitive impairment, it could be a mental health impairment, a physical impairment, or a sensory impairment. And sometimes we forget that students come on campus and they have these limitations. But I also teach students that you have strengths even though you have limitations, and I like to direct their career pathway toward their strengths, but also educate them on, well, this is how the diagnosis will affect you, but let's work on that. In K through 12, they have an IEP or a 504. That's an individual education plan.
Right.
And so when they get to college, sometimes they don't really realize what does that mean to them? How does that affect them in the classroom? How does it affect them with testing? We're told that anyone can be anything, but sometimes that's not true. And sometimes we're not told what our strengths are. So I like to educate them on, here is what you're capable of doing. Let me help you go down that path. Instead of gearing you down a path that you may not be successful, because we all can't be everything. We do have our strengths. We do have our limitations.
I've often thought about that statement, you can be anything you want to be. I think there's some truth in it. I think the asterisk says, but you can't earn money at anything.
It's true.
Right?
True.
Like somebody who wants to be a professional baseball player.
Right.
It may never happen. That doesn't mean they can't go play baseball.
Or be the manager or the accountant or the,
Right.
the
For a
sports
team.
psychologist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I figure out what do they want to do, and then what are their strengths going to allow them to do in that area.
So the first thought that came to my mind when you started telling me that was, by the time you reach college age, you probably know your limitations. No?
Not a lot of
No.
times.
Really?
Because I was a school guidance counselor as well in K through 12. I have a lot of respect for them. But they're limited to what time they can spend with the student. They're doing IEP meetings over and over again. They're doing a lot. And so they sit down. These are the goals they give the students. Have they met their goals? If not, how can we help them? But they don't really have the time to really educate the student on what does this disability mean? What's it mean to you? What's it mean in this environment? I can say I have anxiety. That's not going to be the same for every student in every environment.
Right.
That's why they call it individual education plan. So by the time they get to college, they may not really know what that means. And I may even ask them, what's your exceptionality is what it's called in an IEP. They don't even know what it is. So they may not even know what it is they're working with.
So this may be a dumb or maybe an insensitive question. I hope it's not insensitive. But would an autistic child be going to college?
They sure can.
They can. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have different, like, you've heard of the spectrum.
Right.
But you have students who are high intellectually. They just may have trouble with communication. And so I'm very privileged to teach them, this is how you're going to communicate effectively with your instructor. This
Help
is
them eventually to get a job. I mean,
that is the
ultimately,
whole point
right?
of college, I
Yes.
would hope. We think of, there's many aspects we think of college, but the end goal is we want to help them get a job so they can be independent and be successful in the community. I think that's what colleges do, help the community. So that's always our end goal. And if we get them on the right career path in the beginning, thinking of all of these, not just what careers do we have to offer, what are the businesses hiring, but what can this student do? We want to make sure they're on a path that they're going to be successful.
Nice. I was at the school the other day. Robin goes to the post office over there.
Me too.
So I go to the little store next door.
Yes, the
and they
bookstore.
got these little chocolate,
Yep.
these little round chocolates. I love those little round chocolates, right?
That's a great place to get some snacks.
And they have these like fortunes in them, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever read those fortunes?
Yeah.
Or you just throw it away?
They're a lot of fun. No.
Right? Like the doves have a little
Yes.
fortune, right? And fortune cookies have a little fortune. I think everything we eat should have a little fortune.
Teas
That
have it
would
too.
be
Some
so
tea bags have it.
nice. They do.
Tea bags
they
do too?
Yeah.
I gotta read my tea bag. I never knew.
Well, a follow up to something you just said, I wanted to share that at Webster, we're a graduate school, our local campus here over at Heathbrook, and we have a lot of students that come to us from Beacon College in Leesburg, which is a college specifically geared towards students who have different learning abilities.
Oh, really?
So we have many successful students who might be on the spectrum who come to us and are currently or have already completed a graduate degree. So just because you learn differently does not mean that there isn't an education path for you or, really amazing education goals. And the reason we're here today is because we want to talk to all students about how you would get there, that we at each of our universities and our colleges, we have staff who can talk to you about whatever your concerns are, if you've got strengths and limitations that need to be addressed, or you're just not sure what direction should I go in, what career is right for me, then we have staff at each location that kind of help you guide, towards the right pathway, like what Corey does.
Yeah, I was going to ask Corey, if you have somebody who thinks for sure, I am definitely good at fill in the blank, but all of the aptitude tests indicate, no, you're not really that good at that. Is there a psychological trick or hack or something you use to help them understand you're not really going to be the next Madonna or you're not, or that kind of thing?
A lot of students do think. For example, when I talk to students, a lot of them want to be a veterinarian, and their science courses
Because they
are
love
very
animals,
core.
right?
Yes,
Oh,
correct.
okay, right.
So we have ways of talking to them politely and kindly and kind of guiding them along and letting them know what is required for certain careers. But especially for my program, Career Pathways Coordinator, it starts when they're at the high school level.
That's a good idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So at all of our high schools in Marion County, as well as Citrus and Levy, they have career and technical education programs. And students have the ability to take 3 to 4 years in a specific career and technical education area.
Okay,
For
okay.
example, they have engineering, health, accounting, business.
So that helps them maybe discover something they
Correct.
didn't
And
realize.
they can decide ahead of time, and most of it's combined with hands-on learning. So they can see ahead of time before they spend a lot of money on a college degree, is this really a good fit for me?
Right.
Do I see myself having a future in this industry? On top of that, through the Career Pathways program, we offer a perk that if they do complete 3 years in one of those programs, and that we have a coordinating program at CF, they can actually get some free college credit towards one of our AS degrees,
Oh, nice.
which is a fabulous benefit for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Free college.
Definitely.
You mentioned psychological assessments. We have them in our office.
Oh, really?
There are 3 out of 4 of us who are actually psychologists and or licensed mental health clinicians. So we have over 100 assessments or inventories that we use, whether it's cognitive, whether it's depression, whether it's are they ready to work. So we have a sit-down conversation with them. If you know them, you can just have that discussion and pull that out of them. And if we don't, or we want to be very sensitive because we don't want to say, well, that's not a good fit for you. We let the assessment
Right,
that.
right,
So we
right.
have a number. We also are very big on personality or temperament profiles because it could be I'm able to be a teacher or a veterinarian. I have the interest in it. I have the cognitive ability, physical ability. However, maybe my personality isn't right for that. So then we fix, well, what other part of veterinarian will they be better in? So we take the whole gamut of a person to decide what's the best career path.
Yeah, if you got a short fuse, you don't want to be a teacher, right?
Right. Or maybe you want to teach at the corporate level to where you don't have to, or be a drill sergeant.
Okay, right. Yeah, drill sergeant would be perfect for that guy, yeah.
If they have the ability to do it and they want to do it, then we say, well, what's your personality say? So then that's the area or the piece of that career we place them in.
Yeah, Corey, when I think about when I was a kid being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't know how many things you could be.
Right.
That is true.
And I think maybe that's part of what you bring to the table too, right? Is because how many kids know all the jobs? I think one of the things I've learned from Crystal is that there's a lot of different jobs out there, more than I realized.
There are a lot of different jobs, especially on the career and technical side. So I'm extremely proud of our high schools that we offer the career and technical education programs, and the students get to choose as electives, so they know, hey, I could be anything from a career in criminal justice to a career in health, and we try to help them think outside the box and think of what opportunities are available.
I'm
to them.
actually part of the problem because I am because when people want to be in radio, they think they want to do what I do. But the truth is, there's a bunch of other people who do this, make
Right.
this happen, right? Yeah.
People in production and
Yeah.
producers and all those
I know
things.
this. The salespeople is just unbelievable. Management people, and Robert and I
And
are
so
on the
there's those
microphones.
facets. So you've got someone who's got a talent who loves radio, but maybe they're not maybe fit for being the on-air talent, but maybe they're really great at the computer side of things and they can produce, or maybe they're an amazing PR person and they can be the one that goes out and sells the ads and things like that keep the radio station going and all
Right,
that stuff.
right.
So yeah, it's not just one person that keeps something going. It's usually a team. So I think that was a good example of, as an undergraduate advisor in my former life at the University of Central Florida, I talked to an awful lot of students who would come in and had these wonderful, outstanding goals of what they wanted to be when they finished. And then we would kind of have to drill down into, well, that field is very science-based and it doesn't look like that's really a strong skill of yours. So what else about this appeals to you? And then try to find something that's a better fit. And we did that kind of regularly. I mean, it wasn't as common that you'd have a student come in who would say, I want to be an engineer, and is running, straight A's in every math and science class. That wasn't always the norm. It was usually not.
Did you ever have a student come back to any of you that says, your guidance saved me some time? Because it could be that they're just determined they're going to be something.
Yeah.
You've swerved them away from that. And had they pursued that and failed, they would have had to kind of start at zero again, right?
I talked to a student just the other day that I worked with actually when I was at CF and then at the University of Central Florida, and then I saw her, and she's a graduate student of ours at Webster. And it was really interesting when she started going to school, she thought she wanted to be a teacher. And that was because there were a lot of people in her family going into teaching programs, and it was just kind of all around her. And her mother was a teacher, and she just felt like that's probably what she should do. So it was just such a common theme, I should pursue that. And then she went to school on that path for a while, and then one day realized that she wants to be a teacher, but she doesn't want to teach children. She wants to teach at the college or university level.
Okay.
So she's actually changing her program and moving into majoring in English and doing some other things because that's where her focus is and that's where her passion is. So what we talked about, and I had that conversation with her one day years ago and said, you really need to do what your heart is telling you to do and what your skills will allow you to do, and do something that's going to make you happy, because at the end of the day, we all go to work and we do what we do. And I've had a bunch of different careers, but my favorite one is helping people figure out college. And I've been to college twice, so totally different careers. So
does somebody who wants to be a professor at the college typically come from the workforce? Like, were they like somebody teaching veterinary? You mentioned that. Were they a veterinarian at one time? Usually, right?
That's usually, it depends on the program. So it's really going to run the gamut of depending on what they want to teach. So like at the Criminal Justice Institute at CF, they're most likely going to be looking for folks who are coming in from career law enforcement. If you have someone who's teaching arts or digital media or things like that, they're going to need to have that background. You have someone who's teaching liberal arts or sciences, then their degrees would be coordinating. So usually it's related. Sometimes it's just going to be education. Sometimes it's going to be a combination of education and career experience.
Do we have any jobs that are no longer, I know this is kind of a dumb question because I know the answer is yes to the question. But I guess I mean recently. Any jobs that don't exist because of technology? That happened recently. I mean, I don't mean like, the horse and buggy driver.
Oh, I'm sure there are because of technology.
But I guess I'm wondering if it happens quicker today.
A phone booth repair person.
Right, that would be one.
Just like they were afraid of if we start ordering stuff online,
right,
and it comes to our house, then the postal service will have less employees. I don't think that's the case. We still need. In fact, they're hiring right now. The postal service is hiring. Right. So technology is very helpful, but I don't think it's replacing human employees at a quick rate.
The application to what we're talking about today is, do the students need to kind of look ahead though?
That's
absolutely.
When we do career counseling, we'll look at what is the outlook of this career.
Yeah.
How many openings are there going to be when you graduate? That's one of the main things we look at as well.
And that's one of the things that links through on how a college or university is accredited, that they offer programs that are directly in line with what community and industry will support. Right. Because a college or university can't produce, students in this, field X, if there are no jobs for that. Eventually that will stop, and those programs will cease and transform into something else. So, great examples would be, for instance, we're developing our school guidance counseling program.
Okay.
So we had mental health counseling, and we've added a few extra tracks to that. And now, because of the need, we're addressing that by offering a specific focus on school guidance. I think CF has addressed that as a recent example in the growth of your equine studies program, seeing the need and what's in our community and the opportunities there. And the logistics program would be another example as well.
Agribusiness as well, and then our health science, we're building a whole new building just for all of our health science because that's such a need and demand in the area.
I think, too, our partnership with CareerSource is extremely beneficial. CareerSource and their targeted occupation list is something that we rely on heavily. Most of the time when we're looking at different degrees and different careers that we're choosing to have at the college, we're going to look and rely on that targeted occupations list for what is up and coming for occupation. So we also have advisory committees. Each AS degree program has an advisory committee where it's combined of educators in the area as well as industry leaders, where we meet on a regular basis to make sure that we're following the current trends and changes.
Are the three of you examples of people who are doing a job you never imagined yourself doing?
Absolutely.
All of you. It's me
Absolutely.
too. I never thought I'd do this.
Well, I went to culinary school first, and I loved that, and I did that for a number of years, and then just kind of decided I wanted to add to my education and fell in love with the idea of, unfortunately, I didn't have wonderful advising experiences, as a whole. I had some really great ones, but I had some that not quite so much. And it inspired me to try to be helpful. And I just like helping in
cooking.
that way. I do.
I got to tell you something. Do you know what I had the other day? Have you ever had a Zappoli?
Yeah.
You know what
Italian
it is.
donut.
Does everybody know what this is?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Delicious.
I
Thank
have
you.
not heard of that
2 out of 4.
Fried dough.
Lois, do you know what it is?
A Zeppoli? The fried donut.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. Is Zeppoli?
Zeppoli, yeah.
Zeppoli, yeah.
Explain what it is, because it was good. I can tell you that.
It's an Italian fried donut, so it's a really light, airy, fluffy dough that
Right.
it's usually deep fried, and they usually serve it with sugar or chocolate or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what a crushed sticky is?
Oh.
It's almost the same thing, but it's like a flakier thing
Okay.
with powdered
Sounds
sugar.
delicious.
It is.
Sounds Eastern European or something, maybe.
It may be.
Yeah,
Well, the
sounds
other day
good.
was Polish Food Appreciation Day or something.
Okay.
I couldn't pronounce any of the names.
Right,
so.
right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. There's pastries and all kinds of things. You can get lost in that forever. Speaking of that, and we were talking, and what you were talking about, I was at the College and Career Fair at Bellevue High School earlier this week, and had the opportunity to meet Darren Nine, Chef Darren Nine, who's head of the culinary program there. And that's an amazing example of addressing what students are interested in and what the community can support and what job opportunities are out there. Because now embedded within that high school is a culinary program. So you can go to high school, but you can also start learning something like that. That would have been amazing when I was in school. Didn't have that because that was 40 million years ago. But there's a lot of those opportunities. So when students can't quite figure out what
years ago.
roughly,
Looks good for 40 million.
don't I know? It was the Irish Air. It's a really cool opportunity for students to kind of explore and figure out what they want to do. And the other side of it is if they're really stuck and they're not sure, we all have experts at the campuses that can sit down and talk and figure out how to get them on that pathway that's going to lead them to success.
Can I ask you something about veterans who come to the schools?
Sure.
Because while they're in the military, they are learning a skill that may or not be applicable to the civilian world, right? So they kind of have to start over again, don't they? In some cases.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
A story, psychology started with this from World War II, assessing them to see how did their skills that they learned in the war transfer to civilian life. That's how it started, believe it or not. We have a lot of assessments and inventories at the college. We also have a huge population of veterans. I know at the College of Central Florida, I'm sure wherever we all do, and we have a group just for veterans. We do mental health counseling just for veterans. We understand their need. I was a veteran rep at another employer that I worked at previously. So we really take the needs of the veterans and put them on that path. So this is what you learned in the military. How do we transfer that to civilian life? And they're dealing with a lot of other things as well. And so we're really good. I think every college in this area is good at, how do I help this population of student?
And that's a good question because we don't all just support a traditional age student, a student who's coming to us right out of high school or coming to the College of Central Florida right out of high school. Including the University of Central Florida. They're supporting students who are coming in from maybe changing careers, going back to school, coming back from the service or retiring from the service, and then deciding they want to go on a specific career path and now they're going to go to college. Very common. So we work with students that are all over, where they're coming from and what their goal is.
Yeah, I've often thought with the service people that they might have the false belief about themselves that the only job they're going to get is law enforcement related. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course.
But you just never know. The doors might be open, and if they just talk to you ladies, maybe they'll figure something out.
I was on the phone with one yesterday, and we were having that discussion, and he was so glad at the end of that 30 minutes to just have. And what
really?
you said before was, I think part of the issue too is they don't know what their options are. We know
Yeah,
doctor,
yeah,
lawyer,
yeah.
teacher, but we don't know. There's like hundreds of engineers alone. So after just a conversation of guiding him down what we had and what his skill set is, he was like so happy. So when they have a clear goal, they're more successful in the classroom.
Right.
All right, very good. Before we run out of time, would you ladies like to give us contact information, websites, phone numbers?
Sure. So if you're interested in graduate school, you can connect with us at webster.edu/Ocala or 861-9330. And I am happy to help you. I'm the recruiter there, so I can answer all your questions about starting grad school, if that's going to be your next leap towards a fabulous new career or enhancing the career you already have.
And ladies, you're at the same location, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
do you want to give
If
out?
you guys are interested in career pathways and getting free college credit, if you've completed a program at your high school, you can jump onto our website at www.cf.edu/career pathways, or you can email me at weigelc@cf.edu. Weigel is WIYGULC@cf.edu.
I was going to say, you got to spell that one.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
And for career direction, or if they're coming, say they're a student coming from K through 12 and they're coming to college, if they want help transitioning, my direct number is 352-873-5843.
Very good. Victoria, Corey, Crystal, and Lois, thank you, ladies, for coming in here and doing what you do. Can't wait to see what you brought me back from Ireland.
I'll come back and see you next week.
Well, thanks for having me.
Gotta wait
Pleasure.
now.
Thanks for
I
having
hate
us.
waiting, right? Have a happy Easter. You all celebrate Easter,
Thank you.
Passover?
Yes.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody, and have a good
Thank
weekend.
you. Happy Easter to you.
We'll be right back.
It'll be mostly cloudy and windy on this Friday with a couple of thunderstorms moving through, and they can be severe this afternoon. The threat of flooding downpours, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado as the front moves through. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. Behind it, cooler for Friday night, cloudy, lows in the mid 50s to near 60. Saturday, partly sunny and breezy with showers lingering, highs in the 70s. Sunday, sunshine. For Easter, mid to upper 70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bill Denker.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. We're learning the House Judiciary Committee has issued a subpoena for the full Mueller report a day after the redacted